Alright, so level design. What is it and how can you use it to apply it in your games? So in this video we're gonna take a look at the most useful tricks we use in level design to make the player feel oriented and know where the objective is. And it's quite an important tool, and Unreal has a bunch of tools that we can use to create levels in our scene. And one of them is the landscape, one of the most overlooked assets in Unreal Engine that people can use to actually create levels. So let's explain the principles while we create a landscape. So let's go here and let's create a landscape. Let's say maybe a little bigger. Okay. Enable the edit layers. Now if stuff is new to you, we have a video on landmass. So you may want to check that one out. We have a lot of videos for materials and landscapes, so feel free to go to browse these videos. So let's hit create, and now we have a landscape. So the first thing, let's play here. What's wrong with this level? Well, it's plain, right? I can move my character, but I don't feel anything. And the reason is we lack some kind of path and some verticality elements. So the landscape tools are perfect for doing that. So let me put my auto material here. Let's go to my landscape, go to details, and then landscape. Let's take a look at where it is. Should be this one. Yep. So let's apply this one. And look what happened. So what we need to do is to go to landscape and go to paint, and let's create our layer info. Okay, there you go. Or you have our landscape, our auto material here. Okay, now we have something to start with. Okay, so if you're interested in create this material, check out the playlist of our landscape materials, so you can take a look at how to create a automatic material like this. So let's start. Let's see where the player starts, maybe here. So we may need something here. So what we're gonna do is to create a new layer, and we're going to sculpt on it. And by using these tools, like changing my brush size, something like that, I'm just going to sculpt something to add some variation here. Let's say the player starts here and then go to this area. And one of the most useful tools for this is the flatten tool. So I can use my flatten just like that. And I can actually create something like this and then use my flatten tool. Alright. Maybe a little bit too big, so let's go back to this one. Yeah. Let's dig a hole here. And then what I'm gonna do is my ramp. So I'm gonna choose this one and choose this one. And I can change the width of the ramp. And once I'm happy with the results and the position, I just click enter. Okay. So let's start again. Let's move our player here. And let's play. Okay, so now we start here. Now we have like this area where we go here, and this is much more interesting than, you know, just a plain map. And that's the principle of verticality. Wherever you have something in your scene, let's say the player goes from this point here, this is the player, and starts here, and this is the objective. I can walk here and eventually gets to here. Well, this is not as fun as something like this, where the player starts here, goes here, encounters a vertical element, goes up, continues, and then goes like this. So that's what we're doing here. So let's try to do that. We start here. let's say we start here, and let's delimit the areas of where the player can go. So let's go to our landscape, go to sculpt, and then go to flatten, and let's flatten this area. Okay, so we start like this here. Okay, so we can go here. Okay, and now what I want to do is to create an alternative. So let's first sculpt this one, something like this, and then we will flatten this, something like that, so that the player knows that he cannot go here. Okay, so what I can do here is apply another principle, and that is the principle of giving the player more options. So if I start the game from here, let's say, okay, I got my verticality, I go here, then everything is flat. And if I continue to go this way, then, you know, it's a little bit boring. So how do we fix this? Well, we can give the player two options. We can give the player the option of going here, this way, or going here, this way. And by doing that, we're also giving the choice of getting something else. Let's say if you go to this area, you get a treasure here. If you go to this area, well, let's say you don't get it, but you get something else. So let's try to do that. How we do it? Very simple. We're gonna use the ramp here. I'm gonna click here and click here. And this time I'm gonna go a little bit up. Just like that. Okay? So let's click enter. There you go. Now you have one path. And I feel like this path is a little far from here. So let's move these parts here. Just like that. Okay. Put it here. Enter. Okay. Now we have one path. Let's check the other path. Maybe this path goes down. So let's go here. Maybe we can put something like that and go down. So let's play our game again. Let's go to play from here. So we start here, we go up, and then suddenly you have two options. However, I cannot seem to see this option. Oh, it's because I didn't choose it. Let's do it again. So let's go for the ramp. Just click here, click enter, and there you go. Actually, let's go to this one, just like this. Okay. So now we have two options. We go up, just a tiny bit, and then we have two options. We have this one and this one. Okay, so what are we gonna do? Okay, maybe we go here. Okay, that's one thing we can do. Or we can go to the other one, just here. Okay, and now we're giving the player the choice of having multiple options. So we have the verticality and we also have the freedom of choice. So let's keep sculpting this landscape. Let's say we want to add something here. So let's sculpt something. Let's add some elevation here. Let's increase the strength. Always the sculpt and the flatten tools are brilliant tools so that you can use in your game. So let's say something like that. Let's keep sculpting here. Let's flatten this one. Actually, not too much. So let's go back here again, and let's sculpt again, and let's flatten. Just like that, and then maybe we can extend this area, just like that. Actually, this area can do like this, and this area can go like this, maybe like this here, and maybe we can have another path here where we can create a ramp, just like this. We are going up this time, and we're gonna do a tinier one. So let's go like this. Okay, so let's go for ramp again, and let's choose this one, just like that, to create another path. Okay, just like that. Perfect. Okay, and now what we want to do is to create another ramp from here. You know what, to maybe here, but let's put it up. Alright, so let's click enter. Okay, and now what we're gonna do is create another elevation. Let's go here, go to our scope, to flatten tool, and then go here. And there you go, you have something here. And now this is much more interesting. So what you can have here is maybe a focal point. Let's say this giant sphere, let's say it's a portal, and it's here, and it has this huge cylinders here, just like that. All right. So let's go back here. And you can see, oh, there's something here. Like, I know where to go, and I can actually decide to go there. And I can actually decide to go here, but it's not very clear, but let's take care of that later. So I just decide to go here and walk. And it may feel big, however, when you add more elements into your game, then the space will be smaller and smaller. So it's like, oh, okay, you see the mountain there. It's like, oh, I have another path here, and then you go this way, and then you continue going, and eventually you get there, right? So let's take a look at this one, because we have another path. However, the player doesn't know that he can go here. And if we change our lining a little bit, maybe he can, but we need to try something better. So what we're gonna do is to go to our landscape, and what we're gonna do is to sculpt a little bit, because we need a way to tell the player that, hey, you can go here, but also you can go here. And the way we're gonna do that is like we're gonna frame it. We're gonna frame it like this, and we're gonna put the slope so that the player knows where to go. So it's like, oh, what's going on here? You know, like we have something here pointing this direction, and you know, usually this type of thing can work with meshes where you can put them and point into that direction. But let's try to keep using our landscape tools. So if I go to my sculpts, I can do something like this. And then I can do something like this. Okay, and that's much better. However, the slope, I cannot see it. So I need a way to, you know, see it better. So what I'm gonna do is to flatten this one and then smooth it out. So now it's a little bit more evident that I have something. And what I'm gonna do is basically sculpt this area here, so that I can point into this direction, something like this. Something like that. And now when we come here, you see, oh, we have this here. Let's take a look at what's here. Oh, okay, I have something. So that's something we can do. There is one more thing, and with that we will wrap it up. And it's that we need to tell the player that there is a limited space where he can play. So we have all this landscape, but let's say this is our playable area. So let's delimit this space here just a little bit. So let's increase the, let's say you have something like this. Okay. And maybe you can flatten this out. Okay, that's good. Now it's more clear that we can have something here. So what we're gonna do is delimit the space where the player can go. So how we're gonna do it is to use landmass. So let's go to our landscape, and here in our layers, let's just click the edit layers, create. Now let's rename this. This is our gameplay area, and this is our landmass. Okay. The way we're gonna do this is just to go to sculpt, blueprint, and let's save our level just in case. And then here, let's select the landmass. Okay, let's click here. You can see we have a new mesh here. So what I can do with this, and we have a tutorial about landmass, so if this is strange to you, feel free to take a look at that one. But we're gonna block this thing. And the way we're gonna do this is that we are going to emphasize the objective. Remember that the art you put in your game is to help the player to move from one objective to another. So we need a mountain here that points into this direction so that the player can see it. And maybe another one here. But also we need to delimit the space where the player can play. So this is how we're gonna do it. We're gonna go to here and we're gonna span the points. Right click, add another spline here. Just like that. Okay. What I want to do also is to add another spline here. Just like that. Okay. And what we're gonna do is to change the offset. See offset maybe 1000. Not 5000 maybe. Okay. So let's move this one out. Just like this. And actually we can move it up. Okay, it starts to look better. Let's change the points here, something like that. And maybe we want to put something here. So let's go here and then that's another spline point here. Just like that. Okay, so we have our mountain. So what we're gonna do is to change these settings. Let's go to our effects, our chord strength. We're gonna change a little bit and you can see we have more of a mountain shape. And our chord to strength, we're also gonna change it. Okay. And we can also change the displacement height, like, but add some noise here, or just a little bit. Alright, maybe not too much, just a tiny bit. And what we're gonna do is to move the points so that we can have our landscape here, just like that. Okay, we're gonna change the angle to something like this maybe. And we can also take a look of this sharp transition here in the, let's go to the smoothing, outer maybe 5000, maybe too much. 500 maybe. Okay. Alright, so now we have our mountain here. And the mountain needs to point out into this direction, so we're gonna move it here, just like that. Okay. Now what we can do is actually duplicate this one. So let's go to our landscape. And we can alt click and duplicate this one. Just like that. So we can have another mountain here. Maybe like this. Okay. And maybe this one can be higher maybe. And have different results on the noise. Don't change too much, otherwise it's gonna break it. So let's put 1.2 maybe. And this one can be lower maybe, something like that. Okay, so now we have our level design. And we can actually block this area, but actually that can be done very easily. We go to our gameplay area, go to flatten, and let's just close this one. Just like that. Okay. So we start here, and now we have a level. It's like, okay, we go here, we go up. Like you see the mountains pointing more or less into that direction. We need to tweak it out a little bit, but we see something here. So this, we know that's the objective. We also have an alternative path where we can go. We actually need to close this hole, otherwise the player will run out of our playground. And then we go to this space, and eventually we reach to the top. So this is our basics for a level design. Let's recap a little bit. We talk about verticality, how height affects how the player will feel and how important it is to make the game feel better. We talk about the multiple choices that you can give to the player to go to different paths. And we also talk about the point of interest that the player will need to know so that he can have an interest of going that direction and eventually reach the objective. Finally, we talk about the mountains and how the background can help to tell the player that this is a limited space and not just an open world area where anything can happen. So, if you liked this video, give us a like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and if you're making a game, check the links in the description to get some help and get some free resources. If you want some help, let us know in the comments which kind of video you would like to see, and we make a video out of it, and I'll see you in the next one.